Lehigh, number 39, takes the kickoff. Patrick Stapleton, and he is brought down by number 80, Westport, and number 76, Jason Kilgore, and it will be 1st and 10 for the Lehigh Generals at their own 31-yard line. Quarterback for Lehigh tonight will be number 15, David Ramey. And the Generals come out in a wishbone formation. Handoff to the tailback, 39, Patrick Stapleton, and he is stopped after a gain of about 3 yards. So that'll bring up 2nd and about 7 for the Generals. As the Generals come out in a wishbone as they hand off to the two-back, number 38, Chuck Dickinson, as he is brought down after a gain of about 10 yards, and that'll be enough for a General 1st down, so it moves the ball to the General 47-yard line, will be 1st and 10. As the Generals come out in a wishbone set with a split end to the left side. As they hand off to the fullback, 33, Gary Cody, as he is brought down by 76, make that 77, J.C. Oaks for Gate City. And that'll bring up 2nd and about 9 for the Generals. As the Generals come up to the line in a wishbone formation with a flanker to the right side this time. As the quarterback runs the option as he keeps it, and he is tackled by number 51 of Gate City, Jamie Kearney, after a gain of about 2 or 3 yards, and that'll bring it 3rd and about 6 for the Generals on the Gate City 49-yard line. As the Generals come up to the line in a wishbone set with the split end to the right side. As the quarterback goes back to pass, got a man open, and it's complete to number 38, Chuck Dickinson, for a gain of about 8 yards, so it'll be enough for a General 1st down, as he was knocked out of bounds by Matt Clayball on the Gate City 37-yard line. Will be 1st and 10 for the Generals. As one of the Lehigh General quarterback, David Ramey, has a helmet problem. As we get that adjusted, it will be 1st and 10 for Lehigh on the Gate City 37-yard line. As Lehigh comes up to the ball in a wishbone set with a flanker to the right side. As number 59 of Lehigh, Steve Woodward, I think, jumped off sides. So that'll back the ball at 5 yards, and it'll be 1st and 15 from the Gate City 43-yard line now. As the Generals come to the line in a wishbone formation with the flanker to the right side this time. Quarterback calling out signals, hands off to 38, the halfback, as he breaks to the line for a gain of about 5 yards. That was number 38, Chuck Dickinson. And it'll bring up second and about 10.5 for the Generals on the Gate City 38-yard line. As the Generals come out in a wishbone formation with the flanker to the right side, as the Generals lose the football, and I think Gate City has it. I think number 11, Joy McBride, recovers the football for Gate City. And the Blue Devils will take over 1st and 10 on their own 37-yard line. Nice play by Joy McBride to grab the ball from the Lehigh defender there. As the Blue Devils come out in a full house backfield, as McBride hollering out signals, hands off to Hank Clayball, who finds a hole, and he surges forward for about a gain of 4 yards. Moves the ball up to the Gate City 41-yard line, where it'll be 2nd and 6 for the Blue Devils.
That was a nice improvisation by Clayball.
Yes, it was.
It looked like he had nowhere to go, but he turned around and turned that into a 4-yard gain.
As McBride brings the Blue Devils up to the line in a pro right formation. McBride calling out signals. Hands off to Taylor, who finds a hole. Who runs forward for about a gain of 4 yards, and it'll bring up 3rd and about a yard for the Gate City first down. As Hank Clayball runs the play in for Gate City. As the officials have a timeout for an equipment problem with one of the Lehigh General players. As we'll take a quick timeout here. Okay, we're back as McBride hands off to Mike Lane this time, who turns forward for a gain of about 3 yards, and it'll be enough for the Gate City first down.
The Bryant seems to be handing off to different players and keeping the General's defense guessing. He's calling them well tonight.
Yes. As McBride brings the Blue Devils up in a I formation, as he hollers out signals. Hands off to Taylor up the middle, who runs forward for about a gain of 4 or 5 yards. As it will be 2nd and 5 for Gate City on the Lehigh 44-yard line. As Gate City comes up in a split formation and a quick handoff to Hank Clayball, who finds an opening. He may go all the way, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, he is brought down at about the 8-yard line by number 3 of the Lehigh Generals, Chris Ricketts. And about a 30-yard run there by Clayball, and it will be 1st and goal for the Blue Devils on about the Lehigh 8-yard line. Great run by Clayball. As the Blue Devils come up in a load left formation. Hand off is to Taylor, who finds the opening and is in for the touchdown, ladies and gentlemen. Nice run by Alan Taylor. Touchdown, Big Blue. Give him 6.
McBride is doing a great job of leading this football team tonight.
He sure is, as Jason Kilgore is trying to change seats here to kick the extra point. I don't know if the Blue Devils have enough time here to get the snap off. As Gate City lines up here to kick the extra point. As Kilgore is ready now, snaps the ball, good hold, and it is tipped at the line, and it will be no good. So with 4:21 left to go in the first quarter, Gate City 6 and Lehigh nothing.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Okay, we're back as Kilgore has a high hanging kick, and it is taken by number 39 in the Generals, who finds the opening up the sideline and is finally tackled out of bounds by 62, Wayne Gamble, after about a 15-yard return by number 39 in the Generals, Patrick Stapleton. And it will be 1st and 10 for the Generals on their own 35-yard line. As the Generals come out in a wishbone formation with a flanker to the right side this time. As a handoff, another quarterback keeper, and he is caught in the backfield by a host of Blue Devils led by 76, Jason Kilgore, for a loss of about 4 yards on the play. Make that a loss of about 1.5 yards. And it will bring up 2nd and about 12 for the Generals.
That was nice execution by the Gate City defense.
Yes, it was. As the Generals come up in a wishbone formation. Oh, and the runner is met hard at the line of scrimmage by 76 Kilgore for no gain on the play, maybe a loss of a little bit, as it will be 3rd and about 12 for the Generals on their own 33-yard line.
In a situation like a 3rd down and 12, the Generals have plenty of tricky plays to pull out of their sleeve.
They sure do.
You definitely got to watch this team. They're into the tricky stuff.
As the Generals come out in a wishbone formation with a flanker to the right side, quarterback breaking out signals. He's going back to pass, and it is complete to number 84 of the Generals, Kevin Rogers, for a gain of about 11 yards on the play, so it'll bring up 3rd and about 1 yard for the Generals. As they're going to measure it here. And it is the 1st down for the Generals, ladies and gentlemen, after the measurement. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Generals on their own 45-yard line. As the Generals come out in a wishbone formation with a flanker to the left, handoff is to the tailback, and he runs forward for a gain of about 2 yards. Brought down by a host of Blue Devils, led by number 2, Mike Clayball, and number 21, Jason Gibson. It will be 2nd and about 8 for the Generals on their own 47-yard line. As the Generals come out in a wishbone formation with a flanker to the right. Quarterback calling out signals. Going back to pass. It's intercepted by number 59, Sean Becker of Gate City. And he runs forward for about 5 yards and then brought down by a host of Generals. And it will be 1st and 10 for Gate City on the Lehigh 43-yard line. Great play by Becker.
Yes, awesome. Skying for the INT. Thumbs up to Sean Becker.
As McBride comes out on the field to call the plays for the Gate City JV here, as the Blue Devils come out to the line in a I-right formation. As the handoff is to Mike Lane, who cuts upfield for a gain of about 2 or 3 yards. So it'll bring up second and about 7 for a first down for the Blue Devils, as Jason Gibson runs a play in for the Blue Devils, replacing Matt Clayball. And the Blue Devils come to the line in a T formation, as McBryant calling out signals. As hands off straight up the middle to the fullback, Mike Lane, for a gain of about 1 yard at the most. So it'll bring up third and about 5 or 6 for a first down.
Looks like a passing situation for Gate City.
And they send 2 receivers to the left side and 1 to the right side and 1 back. As McBryant going back to pass, finds, hits Clayball right in the shoulder pads, and it bounces right off his shoulder pads. So it'll bring up 4th and about 6 for the Blue Devil first down.
Only 25 seconds remaining in the first quarter of play.
I think they're going for it here, Brad. It looks like they are going for it on about 4th and 6. As McBryant goes back to pass, looking for a man. He's got Clayball, and he is hit as soon as he catches the ball. So I think there's a penalty on the play, and we'll have to see what it is. It might have been a roughing the passer call on Gate City. Make that on Lee. As it is against Lehigh, and it will bring up 1st and 10 for Gate City. After a 5-yard penalty, false start against the Generals, and I think it's enough for a Blue Devil first down.
McBryant's gamble paid off.
As it is enough for a Blue Devil first down, and they will have it 1st and 10 on the Lehigh 31-yard line. As they come out in a T formation, McBryant calling out signals. Going back to pass. It's tipped at the line, and it is incomplete, intended for number 20, Alan Taylor. As it will bring up 2nd and 10 for the Blue Devils on the Lehigh 31-yard line. As Jason Gibson brings in the play from the sideline. The junior varsity team is coached by Jeff Jones and Stephen Shockley this year. As the Blue Devils come up to the line in a flanker right formation. Handoff is to Taylor up the middle, who runs for it and loses the ball. I think he was down, ladies and gentlemen. There is a penalty flag on the play. And I think we have a face mask against Lehigh. As it'll probably give the Blue Devils a 1st and 10. Personal foul face mask against the Lehigh Generals. So that'll tack on 15 big ones for the Blue Devils, and it'll give them 1st and 10. Well, somewhere when they change sides that that's the end of the first quarter with the score, the Blue Devils 6 and the Generals nothing. And we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. As McBryant calling out signals, going back to pass. Screen, middle screen, as it's complete to Lindsey Fisher. He's got blockers, and he is down to the General 6-yard line, I think, ladies and gentlemen. That screen beautifully set up by the Devils offense. As it will bring up 2nd and about 4 for the Blue Devils on the Lehigh 6-yard line. As the handoff is to play ball. He was forward for a gain of about a 1.5 yards. And it will bring up 3rd and about 2 for the Blue Devils on the Lehigh about 5-yard line.
For those of you just joining us, this is the start of the second quarter. The score 6-0 in favor of Gate City.
As McBryant brings the Blue Devils up to the line in a T formation. As the handoff hits the lane, and he runs forward for a gain of about 2 or 3 yards. He's down to the 1-yard line of the Lehigh Generals. Make that about the 2-yard line. I think he has enough for a first down. He sure does. So it'll be 1st and goal for the Blue Devils on about the Lehigh 2-yard line. As the Blue Devils come out in a low left formation. McBryant hands off to Clayball, who runs forward to about the 1-foot line, ladies and gentlemen. He just missed the end zone by a couple of inches. It'll bring up 2nd and goal for the Blue Devils. As Alan Taylor brings in the play for the Blue Devils. The Blue Devils come out in a low left formation again. As McBryant keeps it, and he's in for the touchdown, ladies and gentlemen. Give McBryant 6. Touchdown, Big Blue.
Dynamite leadership by McBryant once more. Chalk up another 6 points for Gate City.
So with 7:42 left to go here in the second quarter, Gate City had 12-0 over the Lehigh Generals. As Gate City calls a timeout, and we'll take a short timeout and be back in just a minute. Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, as McBryant going for the 2-point conversion. Pitches to Clayball, who catches it and is tackled out of bounds at about the 10-yard line. So the 2-point conversion fails for Gate City. And with 7:42 left to go in the second quarter, Gate City leads Lehigh Generals 12-0. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. As Kilgore has a good kick and is taken by 39 of their Generals, who's running up the middle and is still on his feet and is still running and brought down by a host of Devils at the Lehigh 44-yard line. I think the tackle was led by number 21, Jason Gibson. As the Generals will have it 1st and 10 on their own 43-yard line. As we have an official timeout here for an equipment problem for one of the Generals.
Let's take a short break. Well,
No, I don't think we need to this time, Brad.
on second, oh, maybe we better not.
As the Generals come out in the wishbone formation, pitch to the tailback who fumbles the ball and falls on it after a loss of about 3 or 4 yards. Make that about 5 yards, so it'll bring up about a 2nd and 15 for the Generals on their own 37-yard line. As the Generals come out in a wishbone formation with a flanker to the right side. As the handoff is to the tailback, and he is brought down by number 62, Wayne Gamble, for a loss of about 3 or 4 more yards. So that'll bring up about a 3rd and 20 for the Generals on their 34-yard line. As the Generals cut to line in a wishbone formation with a flanker to the right side. As it's an end around, and no fools. Nobody's fooled on this play, as Matt Clayball catches the end in the backfield for a loss of about 5 more yards, and it'll be 4th and about a country mile for the Generals, so they'll have to bring in the punting unit. As both the Clayball twins go back deep for Gate City. Nice defensive stand there by the Blue Devils that time. As they punt. And it is blocked, ladies and gentlemen, tipped at the line. And it is still rolling. And it is down at about the Gate City 43-yard line. Well, we're waiting for a spot for the ball.
Gate City's really shown their colors so far in this game. They've really chewed Lehigh to bits so
yes,
far.
but there was a penalty on the play, and it seemed to be against Gate City. I'm not for sure what it was, but it was a 15-yard penalty. It'll be 4th down again for the Generals. It was roughing the kicker against Gate City. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Generals on their own 43-yard line. As the option comes this side, kept by the quarterback, and he is stopped after a gain of about 2 yards by number 33, Mike Lane, and number 59, Sean Becker. As the Blue Devils call a timeout, and we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. As the Generals come out in a wishbone formation, handoff to the tailback at the middle, and he is stopped at the line of scrimmage for a gain of zilch, ladies and gentlemen. Stop is by number 65, Keith Christian of Gate City. So it'll bring up 3rd and about 8 for the Generals on their own 45-yard line. As the Generals come out in a wishbone formation with flanker to the right side. Oh, an illegal motion on the fullback of the Generals, number 33, Gary Cody. So that'll back the Generals up 5 yards and make it 3rd and about 12 for the Generals. Both teams still in their huddle as the Generals come up to the line in a wishbone formation with a flanker to the right side. As the quarterback's back to pass, and he will be sacked in the backfield by number 76, Jason Kilgore, for a loss of about 6 or 7 yards. And it'll bring up 4th and about 22 for the Generals as they send in the punting unit, and the Clay Balls will be back deep to return the punt for the Blue Devils. As Gate City had a good rush on it, as the punt is, as Clay Ball lets the punt roll, and it rolls down to about the Gate City 24-yard line, where the Blue Devils will take over 1st and 10. So McBride comes on the field to lead the Blue Devils in another offensive series here, as the Blue Devils come to the line in a spread formation with one back in the backfield, with 2 receivers to the left side and one split out to the right side, as the officials call a timeout. Now we resume play. Now we're making a change here in the lineup. Okay, now we're ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. As McBride under center, calling out signals. Going back to pass. Looking for Fisher over the middle. Has it complete. Fisher all the way down to the Lehigh 45-yard line. Nice pass by McBride and a great catch by Fisher. So it will be 1st and 10 for the Blue Devils on the Lehigh 45-yard line. As the Devils come out in another spread formation. McBride back to pass again. As he launches it for Clayball. Oh, and it is off the fingertips of Clayball, who almost had a diving catch. Nice effort by Clayball. So it'll bring up 2nd and 10 on the Lehigh 45-yard line for the Blue Devils. As the Blue Devils call a timeout, and we'll take a timeout with them. We'll be back in just a moment. As we're back, ladies and gentlemen, McBride understanding on the spread formation, runs the option, pitch to Gibson, who fumbles it and falls on it at about the Gate City 50-yard line. So it'll bring up 2nd and about 15 for the Blue Devils, make that 3rd and 15 for the Blue Devils on the 50-yard line, with 1:35 to go here until halftime. As McBride under center, single back set, going back to pass, looking for a receiver, and he will be hit from behind by number 55 of the Generals, Michael Garcia, for a loss of about 8 yards, and it'll bring up 4th and a huge distance for the 1st down for Gate City. So I reckon they'll be bringing in the punting unit here.
Critical error by
with
McBride.
47 seconds to go here until halftime.
carrying the ball in his left hand instead of his right, and when he switched hands to cock his arm, that's when he got sacked.
McBryant back to punt for the Blue Devils. As he gets the snap, and a fairly decent kick, a wobbly kick, and it is rolled, takes a good roll to about the General 30-yard line, where it will be 1st and 10 for the Generals with 21 seconds to go until halftime. As the Blue Devil defense comes out on the field, the Lehigh offense comes up to the line in a wishbone formation with a flanker to the right. As the handoff is to the fullback, number 39, Patrick Stapleton, who was finally brought down after a gain of about 11 yards, and that is the end of the first half, ladies and gentlemen, with the score Gate City 12 and Lehigh nothing, and we'll be back for the second half in just a moment. Okay, we're back here, ladies and gentlemen, as for second half action, as the Lehigh Generals will be teeing it up to kick off for the Blue Devils.
I'm Brad Quillen. I'll be bringing your second half commentation. Nice kick by Lehigh. Going to land on about the 10 and picked up at the 5-yard line by, I believe that's number 6, Hank Clayball, who rushes the ball to about the 15 or 20-yard line. That was nice defense, covering the returner by Lehigh on that play. Bryant hands off to
Taylor.
It was Taylor who was stopped with no gain. A loss of several yards maybe. Second down and 12 with 9:12 remaining in the third quarter. McBryant calls the signals. He's going to hand off to
Hank Clayball.
Hank Clayball. Hank runs for about a 5-yard gain on the play. Bryant hands off to Clay. Yes, Clayball once again. He was stopped with no gain and maybe a loss of some. Just over 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter of play. Fourth down and 7 yards. Looks like McBryant's back to punt. And that's a pretty nice kick by McBryant. Lands on about the 47. Caught by number 11 for Lehigh, Jeremy Pendergraft. It's going to be first down and 10 for Lehigh on Gate City's 47-yard line. Pitch to number 33 for the 39, excuse me, Patrick Stapleton. He runs for a gain of about 2 yards. Pendergraft hands off to number 58, I believe.
Who fumbles? Handoff was to 38.
Chuck Dickinson.
Who fumbled and is recovered by Gate City. And the Blue Devils have it 1st and 10 on their own 45-yard line.
6:53 remaining in the third quarter. Looks as if Gate City is going to pass the ball. McBryant back to pass, and he's going to go for the quarterback keeper and gain about half a yard. Second down and 9. Just over 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. McBryant hits number 80, West Ford, who gains about 15 yards. Nice pass by McBryant.
Nice pattern run by West Ford there to catch that ball.
Definitely a by-the-book play. Seemed to be pretty much perfect. Real nice execution by the Gate City's offense. Bryant hits number 47.
Make that 42,
42,
Fisher.
Lindsey Fisher, who runs down to about the 15-yard line. Gate City's looking nice.
They sure are. They're executing very well tonight.
Their offense is really on a roll. Lehigh's defense seems to be struggling somewhat against the Gate City offensive onslaught. Score is still 12-0 in favor of Gate City with around 5.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. McBryant hits.
It's Matt Clayball.
Matt Clayball. Matt goes for a gain of about 8 or 9 yards. Makes it 2nd and 1.
As Lehigh calls a timeout, and we'll take a short break and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, as McBryant hands off to Clayball, who was in for the touchdown. Give Hank Clayball 6 as Gate City goes up 18-0.
Really nice running play by Hank Clayball. Joey McBryant still doing an absolutely dynamite job of leading this football team. You couldn't ask for better.
Wait. I don't think he... No? Are they saying that he wasn't in the end zone? No, they're saying that he was down on the 1-foot line. It'll be 2nd and goal for Gate City. So there was no touchdown.
First down and 1 for Gate City on The 1 foot line.
And McBride keeps it for the touchdown. Gives Joey McBride 6 as the Big Blue scores again, and it is 18-0 in favor of Gate City with 4:36 left to play in the third quarter. As Kilgore will attempt the extra point for Gate City.
Nice hold. And it's good.
It is good, ladies and gentlemen.
Give them an extra point.
So that makes the score 19-0 with 4:36 left to go in the third quarter. Gate City ahead, 19-0. Well, the Gate City JV has done an excellent job tonight, Brad.
Yes, they are far, far better than what I expected to see out here on the field. They are absolutely dynamite. I'm wearing out that adjective, but there's really nothing to describe quite how so well these boys are playing. I mean, they're doing an awesome job.
That they are. As Jason Kilgore will be teeing up the ball here to kick it off for Gate City. I don't think he's using a tee on this one, Brad.
I'm sure he's not. Nice coverage by Gate City on the kick returner.
Brought down by 42, Lindsey Fisher. And there's a flag on the play.
Kickoff returner was number 88, Chester Riggs.
I think the penalty will be against the Generals. Not for sure what it was. Anyway, the penalty backs them up 10 yards. So the Generals will have it 1st and 10 on their own 26-yard line.
Four minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Gate City up 19-0. Generals ball on their own 25-yard line. Quarterback back to pass, and Gate City defense just crushes the receiver in no time flat. They're going to gain maybe 3/4 of a yard or maybe a yard. Gate City defense really stood up well to that play. Nearly picked off by Gate City's Hank Clayball, but he didn't get under it in time. Pendergraft back to pass. Puts it up for grabs. Received by number 74. 84, thank you. Kevin Rogers.
Yeah, bring up 4th down for the Generals. Bring up 4th and about 7. As they bring in the punting unit as the clay balls go back deep for Gate City.
Just under 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter of play. Ah, nice punt by the Generals. Picked up by Matt Clayball, who's going to return it to the 50, the 50, 45, 40. He's going to make it to about the 35-yard line. Nice return by Matt Clayball.
As a penalty flag goes down. Not for sure what the call was.
There was definitely a mob of players there.
It's going to be against Gate City.
Probably a foul. Face masking or
maybe clipping.
Maybe clipping. Going to be 1st down and 10 for Gate City.
Yeah, the call was clipping. It'll be 1st and 10 for Gate City on their own 47-yard line.
But Bryant back to pass once again. And is going to be sacked at about the 40-yard line. More like the 43-yard line. 2nd down and 15 yards for Gate City with 2:15 remaining in the third quarter. McBryant hands off to Hank Clayball.
I think he fumbled the ball.
Lehigh recovers the fumble by Hank Clayball. Going to be 1st down and 10 for Lehigh on Gate City's 43-yard line. Lehigh still has plenty of time to come back and take this ball game away from Gate City. But the way Gate City's played so far, they can maybe hold them off. Pendergraft passes the ball. Picked off by Gate City.
By 21, Jason Gibson. And a penalty flag flies. Not sure what the call is yet. I think it's going to be against Gate City. I don't know what the penalty was. Clipping, another clipping penalty against Gate City. So it'll bring up
It'll be
1st and 10 for Gate City on about their own 13-yard line.
About a minute and a half remaining in the third quarter. Gate City is really going to have to get some yardage if they're going to creep their way up the field 80 yards. McBryant back to pass.
Avoids the sack and gets back, I think, to the line of scrimmage maybe. If that far.
He loses 2 yards. 2nd down and 12. 1 minute remaining in the third quarter.
As Gate City calls a timeout, and we'll take a timeout with them and be back in just a minute. Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I think Bryant brings the Liddell's up to the line. He pitches it to Clayball.
Clayball puts on a few nifty moves and advances the ball to about the 15-yard line. Gate City's offense struggling here late in the third quarter. Third down and 10 yards for Gate City.
It's about 30 seconds left to go in the third quarter.
On their own 15-yard line. Enormous pressure on McBryant. Doesn't get the pass quite to Mike Lane, the intended receiver. It'll bring up 4th down and 10 for Gate City on their own 15. Dangerous situation for Gate City. There's always the possibility of a safety this close to the end zone. McBryant back for the punt. An okay punt that lands on about the 40-yard line. Returned by Lehigh to about the 31.
With 5 seconds left to go in the third quarter.
Lehigh's going to have time for one play. Lehigh needs to make it count this late in the game.
As that will be the end of the third quarter, and we'll take a break and be back in just a minute.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen, for the beginning of the fourth quarter of play. Lehigh back to pass, and he is under enormous pressure, and he's going to get sacked with a loss of about, 10, 15 yards. This will bring up 2nd down and 20 for Lehigh. Gate City's defense again doing a superb job. Handoff, fake handoff, and the quarterback is sacked at about Gate City's 45, or their own 45, excuse me. This brings up 3rd down.
As Lehigh calls a timeout, and we'll take a timeout with them and be right back in just a minute. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, as Lehigh is at 3rd and about a country mile.
25 yards to be exact. Fendergoff back to pass once again. He's going to get it off, but it's going to be incomplete. Through the hands of the intended receiver. I believe it was number 15, David Ramey.
I'll ring up 4th and about 25 for the Lehigh Generals.
I don't think they'll be going for this one.
They're going for it. As the halfback's looking to pass.
He gets it off, but he's tackled. He runs out of bounds at about the 30, it looks like to me. At about the 34, and that's not going to be enough. It's going to be first down and 10 for Gate City on their own 32. McBride overthrows number 80 West Ford, the intended receiver. Matt Clayball coming onto the field. .8:41 remaining in the fourth quarter. Gate City up 19-0. Nearly picked off by Lehigh, but fortunately for the Blue Devils, it was bobbled, and he didn't come up with the ball. McBride hits West Ford, who makes it to about Lehigh's 45-yard line. Great pass by Joey. Handoff to Hank Clayball. He muscles his way forward for about 4 yards. Hand off to Hank once more. He powers his way forward. He gains about 2 or 3 yards. This brings up third down, and the scoreboard saying 7, but that's incorrect. It's around 4 with 7:18 remaining in the game. McBride hands off to Matt Clayball. He stutter steps, and he's down at the line of scrimmage by several Lehigh players, among them,
And a flag flies.
and a flag from the refs. Among them, Jamie Reynolds.
I think it's against Lehigh.
I think it had something to do with Reynolds on the tackle.
Yeah, I think it was a personal foul. 15-yard penalty.
Good break for Gay City. .6:33 remaining in the game. Gay City up 19-0. McBride hands off to 33 Mike Lane.
Loses the football.
He fumbles the ball, and I believe it was recovered by Lehigh.
It is.
It's recovered by Lehigh. It's going to be Lehigh's ball on their own 20-yard line. Pendergast back to pass, and he's sacked by Gate City. Gate City's defense is absolutely awesome. They are just tearing Lehigh's offense to pieces. That's going to be a loss of about 8 yards. We've got 5.5 minutes remaining in the game. Gate City's defense is just dynamite. I can't wait to see them play varsity. This JV team looks real good tonight. Pendergast back to pass once more. Nearly picked off by Gate City. Jason Kilgore made a valiant dive for the ball, but still came up empty-handed.
And it'll be 4th and about 20 for the Lehigh Generals. It looks like Gate City's going for the punt block here.
Looks like they may get it. They're going to get a safety.
They got a safe, maybe a touchdown. Touchdown!
Touchdown, Gate City.
They got a touchdown.
Give Gate City 6. 25-0. Gate City. 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter of play.
Kilgore setting up for the extra point. And it is good, ladies and gentlemen.
26-0. Gate City with 4 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the game.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in just a second.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Kilgore kicks the ball. Recovered by Lehigh at about the Lehigh 35-yard line. Puts on a nice move. Carries it to about Lehigh's 45-yard line. First down and 10 for Lehigh. On their own 44. 4:07 remaining in the game. Fake the handoff. Overthrows the intended receiver, number 84, Kevin Rogers. Pendergast back to pass. He's under pressure. He's probably going to keep the ball. He passes, and it was incomplete to number 4, Dwayne Livingston. He had the ball in his hands. It was either knocked out or he just dropped it. Third down and 10 for Lehigh. On their own 44, excuse me. Pendergast fakes the handoff. Nearly picked off by Hank Clayball. Bats at it. Kevin Rogers was again overthrown by Pendergast. Goff.
There's a penalty flag on the play. And we'll take a short break and be right back.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. That flag was against Gate City. I didn't really catch what it was for. Pass incomplete to the intended receiver.
So to bring up 2nd and 10 for Lehigh.
That was Chuck Dickinson, the intended receiver. I believe there maybe should have been an unnecessary roughness call against Gay City, but apparently the refs didn't think it was too severe. Pendergast fakes the handoff once again. He's back to pass. He's under pressure. It's picked off by number 80, Wes Ford. He might go all the way, but he is down at about the Gate City 23-yard line.
And we'll take a short break and be right back in just a second. We're back, ladies and gentlemen.
McBride hands off to Hank Clayball. He's got some blocking. They blow right by it. He is tackled with a gain of about 1 yard. Just under 3 minutes remaining in the ball game.
As Gate City will be running out the clock here.
All that remains is to drain the clock dry. And knowing Joey McBride, he'll be in the mood to put even more insurance points on the board. There's a flag on the play.
There's a flag on the play, and we'll take a break and be right back in just a second.
That penalty was encroachment against the Lehigh defense. It was good for 5 yards for Gate City. I brought up 2nd and 2, and
McBride on the keeper. It ran out of bounds after a gain of about a yard or two.
McBride
on the keeper
again. Fakes the handoff to Mike Lane. He gained about a yard, I think.
As we have under 2 minutes to play in the game.
It's going to be 4th down and about 1 foot. McBride will play go as the keeper again to get that 1 foot, as he's done on 2 touchdowns he scored.
As Gate City calls a timeout, and we'll take a timeout and be right back.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. McBride, he handed off, or did he keep the ball? I did not catch it.
No, he handed off to,
was it
Hank Clayball?
Hank Clayball. Hank Clayball runs for around 7 yards. That'll bring up 1st down. 3 yards to go till the touchdown.
Hand off to number 33, Lane. There's denied, short of the goal line.
Mike Lane lost about 4 inches on the play. Second down, 4 yards.
Under a minute left to go in the game.
Gate City up 26-0. Flag on the play.
Flag on the play, and we'll take a short break and be right back.
11.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Last play we didn't catch. Gate City lost about 3 or 4 yards on the play. And now there is 10 seconds left in the ball game. 7, 6, 5.
And McBride just falls on it. And 4 seconds left to go in the game. As they wind the clock, 3, 2, 1. And that's the ball game, ladies and gentlemen.
Gate City shuts out Lehigh 26-0. An awesome game by the Gate City Blue Devils junior varsity football team.
And for FTE Channel 30, I'm Jeff Harris.
And I'm Brad Quillen.
And we'll see you next time.